I don't know if we caught the first beep. Hold on. Chris Scalzo here with
Matt Howell.
On this episode of The First Run, Matt and I are going to discuss, hey, folks, it's sequel week. We're going to discuss Creed 2. When I pop wrong at the beginning, it drives me crazy.
It's going to be one of those nights, isn't it?
I hope not. I got a lot to do yet tonight. All right, let's try that again. Chris Scalzo here with
Matt Howell.
And on this episode of The First Run, Matt and I are going to discuss, well, listen, folks, it's sequel week. First off, it's going to be Creed 2, the sequel to Creed, which is a continuation of the Rocky saga, which apparently is just, it's not going to. Also, speaking of franchises that seem to keep going, the Harry Potter universe continues to expand with the sequel of Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald. And then finally, it's 5 spinoffs we want to see. Because clearly, we're dealing with spinoffs this week. So I thought, Matt, why don't we just dive right into it? But let's start everything off with a clip from Creed Part 2.
You don't think I can beat him? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I'm not going to be here forever.
And what's that supposed to mean?
It means you got to do some smart thinking.
Oh, you want to talk about smart decisions, Rock? You in this house all alone. Who been taking care of you? Me. I've been here for you. Who else you got? Listen, I'm taking this fight with or without you.
And it's without him. So, Matt, why don't you tell the folks at home? And, of course, as always, every episode is specifically mastered for a particular listening experience. And this one, of course, is training for your big boxing match. This is the best way to listen to this one. So, Matt, what is Creed 2 all about?
So it follows the further career of Adonis Creed, son of Apollo Creed from the Rocky franchise. And he decides to take a fight against the son of Ivan Drago. If you will remember, the Russian played by Dolph Lundgren, who killed Apollo Creed in the first set of movies. So this is redemption for the Creed family, and to fight, to really show Russia, that we're still on top. That's really what this is all about.
So Ryan Coogler's Creed was different and new and interesting, and of course was the I believe the debut for Tessa Thompson. I think it was her first big film.
Was it? She's been in so much stuff. I just feel like she's been there forever.
At least maybe it's my ignorance, but that's when I first took notice of her was with Creed. So, and one of the great surprises, or at least one of the great things about it, of course, too, was not only the introduction of Michael B. Jordan as Adonis and kind of continuing that level of it instead of maybe going with a Balboa offspring, which is another whole thing. But we're also introduced to old aging, sick with cancer Rocky, right? And it adds that whole, he's got that grizzled veteran, the teacher, he's now in the Mick role, right? And he's able to pass on his wisdom. And it just worked. Right. And I think a lot of it has to do with Coogler's involvement in the development script and in the direction of that film. And of course, Michael B. Jordan's performance. Now, Coogler does not return for the sequel. And I think personally the film is a little worse off for it. But it's not just that, Matt, that troubled me with this thing, right? It's that this thing is a cliche fest. I mean, if I had to construct a Rocky movie in a lab, or if you just let a computer write the script, this is basically the movie it's going to come up with.
This is what Deep Blue would come up with if you said, give me a Rocky movie.
Exactly. It hits all the beats. You have family conflict. There's an injury. There's fights. There's losses, or not quite losses. Well, it's a new version of a way to lose a fight in the series, right? Now, it's done well, but we've seen this thing a few times more. I mean, it's not as sloppy in its sequel and its fan service as, say, Star Trek Into Darkness, right? And the way it handled the con thing. But I think it's still... I don't know. I think conceptually it's an interesting idea, particularly dealing with the pressure that Victor Drago faces as Ivan's son, I should say, and how what happened to Ivan Drago after Rocky IV. I got to tell you, Matt, that's almost a spinoff I want to see. Right?
It is a lot more interesting than what we get. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, what happened to Drago after Rocky IV and how he was deserted not only by his family and his wife, but his country. Would have been possibly a fascinating film to watch. Not a high melodrama fight movie, but something more deeper and personal and more intimate.
Right.
But it just, I don't know, man. I think the thing was just bogged down by its cliches and fan service, I think. What were your thoughts on Creed 2?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, I think obviously the magic ingredient in the original Creed was Ryan Coogler, because this is just derivative. Like you said, it's fine, but it's like if I was sitting around when I was 12 years old with my friends after we watched Rocky 3 and 4 and we decided what would be a good movie. It's like you take the parts of what's, somebody said, oh, that would be cool if we put all that together, and just kind of mash it into another movie. There's nothing that we haven't seen before. It's really kind of a disappointment. I mean, I was a little leery as it was, just by the fact that they were bringing back the Drago, I guess, I don't know, familial connection or whatever you want to do to make the dramatic stakes extremely high and all that kind of stuff. But
yeah,
high melodrama that's just kind of, it's just kind of wasted, I guess, or at least it's just kind of falls on deaf ears. I don't know. I was not impressed with this at all. No,
unfortunately. I know what. I think there's any praise too I have for the film. There's a couple things. First off, the fight scenes are shot differently. I think there's a new way. So if you watch Coogler's film, his camera kind of just smoothly dances and circles around, kind of like it was like a beautiful kind of ballet. And this is it Capel? I apologize, I'm not sure. You're basically dropped into a frenzied hurricane. Right. I mean, he does his best to kind of have you experience what it's like to be in the middle of a barrage of punches, which is good. It's interesting. And I thought that worked. But when you watch how Coogler's camera in the fight scenes just so like a stingray, right? Just so smoothly is encircling the fighters and shifts when the punches, it's just, I don't know. But I give him props for at least trying something different with that. Basically, for me, it boils down to this, Matt. If you're a fan of this series, I think you're going to enjoy it. It's going to give you everything you're looking for, everything you expect from a Rocky movie. This gives you. Unfortunately, given what Creed does and what Coogler delivers with that first film, it's just a bit of a disappointment for me.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think you can almost say that that's a criticism as well. I mean, if you like these kinds of movies, or I won't say I'll criticize you for liking these types of movies, but it gives you a Rocky film, whether that's good or bad. That should really tell you everything that you need to know. It's a Rocky sequel in the truest sense of the word. If I'm being honest, without a lot of the cheesy, hammy charms of like a Rocky 3 or a Rocky 4, with scenery chewing by outsized villains and everything like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just middling, and I was disappointed.
Stallone says this is it for him.
I can believe it. He's probably that man's done.
Yeah, he says he's not coming back for any more if they make him. Of course, you said the last Rambo film was the last Rambo film. So you never know. I mean, he's 72 now. Who knows? Maybe if they make it in 5 years, you can probably talk him into it, and he goes out like Mickey. Who knows? Yeah. But still, so he says he's done. One thing too, I found particularly interesting. If you're not aware of this, Stallone's son died a while ago, and I was curious what that must have been like, kind of for him in those scenes, kind of dealing with that loss. If you've ever lost a close family member at a young age, I can tell you it's it's a difficult process. I can't imagine it being your son as well, right? So I thought that the coda of the film, where it focused on all the family units, I thought it was, and at that moment, right, it's trying to show you what the director feels the film is supposed to be about,
right?
Which is family. And unfortunately, it didn't so much work for the rest of the movie. Though, as again, I thought maybe the ending was one of the more touching and emotionally effective parts of the film. I just wish the rest of it would have been as poignant and as successful as that.
Yeah, agreed. So, what are you coming down on this?
I'm giving it a C+.
Are you?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a little less generous. I'm gonna give it a C.
Okay. Because the Rocky stuff still works. That's all I'm saying. So, and when there's that one cameo that show too that I wasn't sure we were gonna get, the theater I was in, a couple of people started clapping when that character walked into that dinner scene.
Right.
I think you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. All right. Creed 2, the Creedning. We gotta stop those jokes. Like, I think we officially retired the Electric Boogaloo sequel joke, right? I think what we've made, I think that joke is not allowed on this show.
Yeah, it's been really driven into the ground by the greater world at large.
So there you go. If you got a chance to see Creed 2, shoot us an email. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Feedback at thefirstrun.com. I am desperate for your attention. Coming up on Blu-ray and DVD this upcoming Tuesday, Matt. Well, I already pre-ordered this 4K set. Well, actually, this 4K release. And the whole set was part of my 2018 holiday gift guide. So let's hear a clip.
Fate whispers to the warrior, storm is coming. And the warrior whispers back, I am the storm.
Tom Cruise returns as Ethan Hunt, or as he's known colloquially as the Storm. With Mission Impossible Fallout, Christopher McQuarrie's just head and shoulders improvement above the prior film, which still good, but Fallout takes it to another level. I still don't know, Matt, if it's as good as Ghost Protocol, but god dang. You know, if aliens came down to Earth and wanted to see just the quintessential action movie, I'd be hard pressed not to say, check this out. Mission Impossible Fallout, I think, hits all the beats and is wildly entertaining. So if you get it from Best Buy, you get a steel book. The 4K, of course, comes with Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos soundtrack. I'm telling you, Matt, I'm getting this thing Tuesday, and I am popping that sucker in. I don't know. I have to wait for the misses to go away at some point to really blast the Dolby Atmos soundtrack. But at some point, that'll be happening. Oh, you know what? I'm off work on Wednesday. Maybe that's what we'll do Wednesday afternoon.
There you go.
All done and done. All right, a whole bunch of behind-the-scenes featurettes, some deleted scenes as well, featuring optional commentary by McQuarrie. The film includes commentary with McQuarrie and Tom Cruise, as well as some other people. So, again, the box set comes out, all films in 4K, and individually fall out this upcoming Tuesday. The Miseducation of Cameron Post, starring Chloe Grace Moretz, where she plays a young woman forced into a gay conversion therapy center, is being released. Matt, one of the more disastrous films that I was looking forward to this year, The Happy Time Murders, being released on Blu-ray.
Wow, I blocked the memory of that one.
Oof. Includes commentary by the director, Brian Henson, who I'm assuming just apologizes for an hour and a half. Deleted scenes, gag reel, and a line-o-rama is included on that one. Another just horribly disappointing film, The Nun, being released as well. Includes over 10 minutes of deleted scenes. So if you didn't hate yourself enough by watching it originally, you can see the stuff that wasn't good enough to be included.
Well, maybe it makes it into a coherent film. Let's just give it the benefit of the doubt, right?
Yeah, whatever you say. Operation Finale is being released. This is years after World War II. A team of secret agents are brought together to track down Adolf Eichmann, the infamous Nazi architect of the Holocaust. Includes audio commentary by the director, Chris Weitz. And I was looking forward to this one. I think the reviews were middling, but still looked interesting enough. I'd like to check it out. Support the Girls, starring Regina Hall. She plays Lisa, and she's the last person you expect to find in a highway side sports bar with curves. As a general manager at Double Whammies, she's come to love the place and its customers. An instinctive den mother, she nurtures and protects her girls on the staff fiercely. But over the course of one trying day, her optimism is battered from every direction. It's supposed to actually be a really good, another film that seemed to go under the radar, but Support the Girls is being released. A documentary I saw with Mrs. First Run that was fantastic, Pick of the Litter, which is basically follows 4 dogs as they go through the guide dog process and if they make the cut.
Okay.
Let me tell you, Matt, it is adorable. You are going to be crying and just your heart's going to be full. Pick of the Litter is just one of those. You should watch it with the young one. I think you guys will your family will definitely enjoy it. New to Blu-ray, Lion King is being released in 4K. You get it from Best Buy, you get a steelbook. Target comes with 4 collectible cards. Arrow is releasing Bloody Birthday. The Bad Seed meets Halloween in this deliciously twisted early 80s slasher. Includes a brand new 2K restoration from the original film elements, an uncompressed original mono audio soundtrack, and some brand new audio commentaries as well. And finally, Matt, your straight to DVD pick of the week is Sleigh Bells, but bells as in the bell of the bull.
Right, I figured. Continue, please.
It stars Barry Bostwick and Richard Mull, Bull of Night Court for the uninitiated. Santa Claus helps 3 cosplaying girls after they accidentally unleash Krampus. Together, they have to stop the monster before he continue his killing spree. And that is Sleigh Bells.
Very holiday themed.
There you go. What should we be streaming this week, Matt?
So on Amazon Prime, and a less heralded film of Martin Scorsese, Mean Streets, starring Harvey Keitel as Charlie, a collector for his loan shark uncle and his childhood friend Johnny, played by Robert De Niro, who is basically the neighborhood scumbag who's borrowed all kinds of money from everybody. It kind of follows their friendship and their life in the mean streets of New York. It's a good film.
Give me that pill. All right. Sounds good. You know, I've never seen Mean Streets. I've always wanted to check it out, and I haven't seen it. So, what was it on Netflix or Amazon?
Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime. All right, good. Perfect holiday viewing. Okay, so let's move on then. It's going to be now our sequel week continues. This time with Fantastic Beasts 2, The Crimes of Grindelwald, as Jude Law so effortlessly says.
Why can't you go?
I cannot move against Grindelwald. It has to be you. Well, I can't blame you. In your shoes, I'd probably refuse to.
What?
It's late. Good evening, Newt.
Wait, no. Oh, come on. Dumbledore.
So neat how that audio clip was basically like dull and nothing happened. Funnily enough, Fantastic Beasts 2, The Crimes of Grindelwald, is somewhat similar.
You think so?
So this time out, it takes place. So what happens? So at the end of the first film, right? Eddie Redmayne's character there, Newt, is Scamander. They're able to capture Grindelwald and put him into prison, though he vows to get away. Well, naturally, he gets away. He escapes. Fast forward a few months, and Scamander's he's doing something, and he hasn't spoken to Catherine Waterstone's Tina Goldstein in a while. And there's a whole mix-up between fiancés. There's a love interest plot thrown in that's built just to have something important, air quotes, happen later on at the climax of the film. Ezra Miller's still here as Creed's Barebone, and we're going back and forth with who his parents are, a la Ray, which, okay. And Dan Fogler returns, so does everybody else, and basically nothing happens. This is the Empire Strikes Back of the Fantastic Beasts trilogy. And this is tricky, man, right? Because this is all about moving places and people and characters into place for the big climactic final film. And it can be a little tough sometimes when you don't establish any emotional connection with any of these characters. So when you have these big, highly dramatic moments where new characters are introduced, other characters unfortunately may pass away or their fates change, you don't care. And then you also can run into an issue where you're so focused on the chess that you make a film that's incessantly dull. It's not then helped out by having a color palette that is entirely washed out to really just drive home the vanilla-ness of everything. And there's an acorn, a seed of an interesting idea here with Johnny Depp's character, right? The titular Grindelwald. I love, Matt, when villains are right. You know, and there's the potential. Now, obviously, he's using it for his own advantages, right? But generally, his points in regards to propaganda of what he's trying to spread to turn people to his cause, you're like, well, yeah. I mean, okay. I mean, it's not a horrible idea,
right?
So, but again, Matt, am I wrong? Is this thing just as I could tell you? I was like, ugh. And rolling my eyes and just looking at my watch a few times while this thing played out over its 134 minutes when almost nothing happens.
Right. Yeah. So here's the thing. I'm not a huge Harry Potter fan. I'm not like super into the lore. Like I couldn't. And I think this film, I think what it suffers more than anything, and obviously the first film was nowhere near as bad, although it had its flaws. But I think this film really expects you to care about the minutia, and I honestly just couldn't bring myself to give a crap about any of it. And to be quite honest with you, it had been so long. I haven't seen the first one since we watched it for the show. And I couldn't remember half of what any of this was supposed to be. Like, I mean, while I don't want a ton of exposition, maybe a little bit would have helped just to remind me what the heck I'm supposed to be watching. Because it just kind of moves from set piece to set piece. And as you said, it's so obviously belaboring the point of trying to get all the players into where they need to be for this big denouement at the end, for the third one, apparently, that it's just exposition. I hesitate to see even exposition. It's just scene setting. That's all it is. It's just table dressing the whole time through. And I had a tenuous relationship with any of these characters as it is for even being able to care. And just when they're not, like you said, doing anything with any emotional stakes for me, I didn't really care. Now, I will say this. I will say that there are probably 2 or 3 action set pieces in this film that are actually probably some of the best ones that have been in any of the Harry Potter films, as far as just exciting kind of stuff to watch. The initial escape I thought was well done. Just the kind of, I mean,
maybe for me, just the conclusion, the climax was really,
the climax was good too. I mean, I think, and I'm just saying that visually it looked good. Like, I think it was well put together action scene, you know, and I don't know how, you know, is Jen really into the Harry Potter films?
But only Harry Potter proper.
Right, I know.
This one, the first one, and she was kind of like nonplussed. She was like, okay, that was okay.
Yeah. See, nobody in my house really likes them that much. But I mean, even if you go back and watch those films, very few of them have really anything like great action set pieces in them, to be quite honest with you. And I thought this was probably some of the best ones, but that's faint praise, really. But I will say this, what do I know? Because how long has this movie been out? 3-4 weeks at this point? I went and saw it this morning at 10 a.m. on a Sunday, and the theater was in a big theater, and it was half full. And the people are still going to see this film.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I guess maybe, what do we know? I don't know, but I'm with you. I could barely muster a meh. You know, I couldn't really care.
And Rowling wrote this too. That's the thing that I find shocking. It wasn't like she just was a producer. She wrote this film.
Yeah, and you can tell, man. I think there's been some kind of lumbering things where, you know, she had worked on Harry Potter and she had worked out all the story beats for such a long time. Maybe not filling in the details, but she knew the major beats. Whereas this, like, honestly, Chris, I hate to say it because I love it as much as anybody can, but can we just get rid of the everybody's connected and everybody has to be somebody kind of thing? Like, with the Star Wars and Game of Thrones. And as much as I like all that stuff, it's starting to get really old, like how everybody's just like, everything's connected, everybody's related, everybody's, you know, a part of some other part's past. It's like, at some point I just started rolling my eyes like, I don't care, you know? Yeah,
no, I mean, for me, obviously, it was the Blofeld Spectre thing that just pushed me over the edge on all that stuff. But, and I don't know if you saw this, there was an article online, I don't know if it was from Comic Buyer's Guide, which is, I think it was them, I can't remember, I don't know what it was, but there's a dubious source that Abrams is going to retcon race parents.
Oh, really? I've heard that several times. I've heard, what if some of the crazy stuff that I've heard, I know we're going off topic here, but Snoke's going to come back and he's going to have like a lightsaber battle with Luke in the Force. Like, I don't even know.
Oh, boy.
I'm really nervous about how this thing's going to go.
Yeah. So anyway, Crimes of Grindelwald, I don't know. I thought the first one was a step down for the franchise. Well, this was worse. And the other thing too is like we could wrap this whole thing up in 2 films max.
Yeah.
Definitely not 3. This definitely felt padded out. I felt the whole thing was needlessly complicated and not really just that all interesting, unfortunately. So
Eddie Redmayne was pretty good though. I
guess I'd more if anybody I wanted to see more of on screen, it was Depp and Law. Yeah. Those are the 2 that I was really engrossed in at all at any time. So whatever. What do you you know what? I got it. I have it a D+.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna be a little more. I was thinking C-, to be quite honest with you.
Mm-hmm. I think I gave the first one like a C or a C-, and this is worse. So
yeah, it's not particularly good, but
it's too bad. If you got a chance to see Fantastic Beasts 2, shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. I'm keen to know your opinion. All right, Matt. Coming up next, it's spinoffs we want to see, and let me tell you. This first, remember, typically when we do the audio clips, it's one that didn't make the cut. This is a bit of a joke audio clip, and now, no matter what, this will never happen. But take a listen.
Hector Savage from Detroit. Hey, I remember this pug. Ex-boxer. His real name was Joey Chicago.
Oh, yeah. He fought under the name of Kid Minneapolis.
Hey, I saw Kid Minneapolis fight once in Cincinnati. No, you're thinking of Kid New York. He fought out of Philly.
He was killed in the ring in Houston by Tex Colorado. You know, the Arizona assassin.
Yeah, from Dakota. I don't remember if it was north or south. North. South Dakota was his brother from West Virginia.
You sure know your boxing.
Well, all I know is never bet on the white guy. You got an address in there?
Well, I've got a card that says Monique DiCarlo, 210 Bleckman Street.
That's the red light district. Wonder why Savage is hanging out down there.
Sex, Frank?
No, not right now, Ed. We got work to do.
All right, so obviously that's from Naked Gun 2.5.
Yeah.
No, I thought initially it would be fun if we had a Norberg spinoff, but clearly
can't have that.
Played by O.J. Simpson is never going to happen. I was thinking about it like, man, I wonder if those movies would still hold up now. Every time he'd pop up, he'd be like, ooh, yeah, no. But all of them are on iTunes right now for $5 a pop, and I haven't seen them, and I don't own any of them. So I'm thinking about picking them up. Though when I researched it on Amazon, you can get the whole set for basically $15 on Blu-ray. And I'm all about the physical media, so I may go that route. I don't know. I wonder if those hold up. When I was researching this, I pulled 3 or 4 different Naked Gun clips, and each one of them had me laughing. So I'm thinking it still does, but I don't know. We'll have to see. Spinoffs, Matt. Why don't you start things off? What film or character or franchise, something, is a spinoff you're waiting to see?
All right, so this may be this was a little bit of a punt because I know it's something that they've talked about, but I think it's a really good idea, and I really want them to do it. So in the John Wick universe, I think they should do a spinoff just focused on the Continental, because I want to know more about the Continental and the weird rules of this particular universe in the John Wick universe. For people who are not familiar, which you really should be, the Continental is a hotel where all of the super assassins stay, where it has its own rules, and nobody can do any business there, and they happen to be all over the place. So it gives you a lot of opportunity to do that kind of thing. Maybe like an anthology series.
They're supposed to be doing a TV show on that, though, aren't they?
Are they? Okay.
I believe so.
Okay.
And I remember being less than excited about it. Because after John Wick 2, I was kind of like, I don't know if I care to delve any more into this. It's getting a little tired for me. I just want to see some kick-ass martial arts and gunfights. And from what I understand, part 3 is supposed to dive more into that stuff. But there is a television show based on the Continental Development, so you're going to get your wish.
Okay, good. Good for me.
My number 5 is White Tiger from oh boy, I'm blanking now.
On your own list?
What is wrong with me? It's the James Bond film where he goes to Japan. You only live once, right? You only live twice. You only live twice. It's the Japanese secret agent.
Oh, okay.
That he teams up with in that film. And it is, I just the thought of it, I think would be, not White Tiger, Tiger Tanaka. What the hell is wrong with me? I think White Tiger is a Marvel Comics character. Tiger Tanaka. I got to stop drinking before these shows. So he's the head of the Japanese Secret Service, all right? And he teams up with Bond to take out Blofeld. This is the one with the volcano hideout, which is iconic and gets made fun of all the time. So, but I just love the concept of just, and maybe this is going to come up a little more as we go, but I just love expanding basically the James Bond universe into different things. And one of them I'd like to see is a Tiger Tanaka film with Daniel Craig as James Bond in a cameo or as a team up role where he shows up like for part of the mission or something. I would absolutely love something like that. So that's my number 5 is Tiger Tanaka. Not White Tiger, because I'm an idiot.
Seriously, I thought you were a super fan, man. All right, so my number 4 is I want to see a film or something based off of the organization. And the organization that I'm referring to is the one in Cabin in the Woods. I would kind of like to see, so these are basically, it's an organization that's spread throughout the world that has all these underground labs, and they come up with all these horrible monster things to do to people in order to appease the old gods from destroying the world. Well, spoiler alert, at the end of Cabin in the Woods, they fail and the evil gods destroy the world. But I would kind of like to go back and see some of the more like successful ones that they had from before, because I guess they've been doing this for countless years, and then maybe even see some of the other groups like they talk about Japan and Sweden. I would like to see what those had to do. So I would like to see more of the organization somehow.
Yeah, that would be interesting. That might be fun to check out a little more of. So my number 4 then is Ilsa Faust, who's showed up in the last 2 Mission Impossible films, played by Rebecca Ferguson. And I just like the idea. Now, basically, I guess you can just watch Atomic Blonde if you want for a little more taste of that with Charlize. But still, I think her one of the more interesting characters introduced into the Mission Impossible cinematic universe, if you will. And I wouldn't mind a spinoff of Ilsa and seeing how she got into MI6. Is it MI6 she's in or 5? It's 6, right? 6 is international and 5 is national. Isn't how it is? Kind of like our CIA versus FBI.
Yeah.
But still, it would be fun to watch her. And plainly, I wouldn't mind seeing a franchise with a strong female lead, kick-ass secret agent. It would be fun to watch. So that's why Ilsa's my 5.
Man, you keep going with secret agents. I'm going to go with the real kick-ass action hero that we need. And again, a bit of a layup because it's been kicked around, although I think it's officially dead, but I still think they should resurrect it. Follow the further adventures of Furiosa from the most recent Mad Max film. I think there's a lot more that you could tell there. I think it would be cool. As much as I do really want to see more Mad Max, I think as a kind of cipher legendary figure is the right way to go. I think you could kind of do a lot more with Furiosa as well.
That's a good pick. I totally forgot about her. Oh man, I think that's even better than my Ilsa Faust pick. Son of a bitch. You're so much better at this. All right, my number 3 then is my only Star Wars, and I think we may actually be getting this at some point, or at least there's teasing of it. I don't know. Enough with the Mandalorian. I don't want a Boba Fett film. All right, the whole point of why a Boba Fett's so cool is because you know so little about him.
Sure.
Obi-Wan, Ewan McGregor.
There you go.
Give me some Clone Wars stuff, whatever. But the fact that I just blows my mind that we can't get an Obi-Wan solo film. I would even be interested in a Qui-Gon Jinn Obi-Wan film before they meet Anakin or something like that would be cool. But still, out of all the side, if Obi-Wan's a side character, he's not, you know, I mean, of all the supporting cast, I think Obi-Wan's the one I'm most interested in seeing. Or maybe like Yoda as like he goes in on a honeypot mission or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But Obi-Wan's my guy.
I mean, Obi-Wan on the run is like kind of like a Ronin or something, as you know, he's fleeing the Empire, trying to stay one step ahead. That would be pretty cool.
Oh, it's like after Revenge of the Sith type of a thing.
Basically after, but like, you know, while they're also being hunted down, that would be cool.
That would be great. And it would help explain how we aged like 30 years in a matter of 10 years.
Hey, man, you got to keep running after Vader. I mean, and then you could bring Vader in too. You could have him just kind of showing up at the right as he missed him.
Right.
I missed you.
Just repeatedly him going down hallways and killing people. Escapes Obi-Wan at the end and he's stuck.
Yeah. So my number 2 is also a Star Wars film, but it's a lot broader. So I'm going to go even further. I don't want to see anything about the Empire or the Jedi or anybody that we really know anything about. I kind of want to see a film about the underworld of Star Wars, the gangsters, the bounty hunters. We got a taste of it in Solo, but I don't want it to be about Solo. Like, I don't want it to be about anybody that we know. I don't want it to be a Lando film, as much as I would really like a Lando film with Donald Glover. I think I just want a film that I'm calling Scum and Villainy. That's really what I want for my next Star Wars fix.
That would be good. That would be fun to watch. But still, Obi-Wan on the run, man.
That would be good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And you could even do a remake of like A Fistful of Dollars or something with that too.
That's what I mean. Like he could be like the gunslinger rolling into town. Like he has to stay secret, but he also has to protect the locals. So, you know, that'd be pretty sweet.
Man, so much potential. I don't know what the hell they're doing.
We should be doing this. We're way better at this. Let's get a script going.
Right. My number 2 then is my DC Comics version. There's 2 I think I'd want to do, and if I had to choose one, it would be this one, which is, and he even tweeted about it like a week ago. Guillermo del Toro's Justice League Dark.
Yeah,
getting his vision on those characters and making that film would just be fantastic. The seedier, dealing with the pure evil and monsters, and demons, and all that stuff with Constantine and Swamp Thing, and who else they'd kick in. Dead Man or the Spectre, Dr. Fate, all that stuff would be awesome. And I'd wish we could see something like that. The other one would be JSA. And I don't know how they would do that, especially in the Snyderverse. But I've always had a soft spot for the old school heroes, the original Flash, the original Green Lantern, again, Spectre and Fate, Hawkman, Mr. Terrific, all that stuff. So that's my number 2.
All right. So my number 1 is something that we may actually get. But I really want it to happen. I wasn't that excited for this, but the more I see of it, the more I hear about it, the kind of early reviews that I've read is that Spider-Verse is supposed to be great. I'm really looking forward to seeing it. It's really, I was kind of missing that like year in film that I really wanted to see, but I really want them not only just to kind of the further adventures of Miles, but I would love if they kind of just started splitting off all of the different kind of awesome Spider characters, like the Gwen Stacy version of Spider-Woman, Spider-Man 2099, the Miguel Rivera one. I would love them to just kind of do an entire Spider-Verse completely separate from the Peter Parker Spider-Man, just completely separate and apart, and just kind of explore these kind of Elseworld stories from different kinds of Spider-Mans.
Spider-Ham, Peter Porker.
I think you could probably do that by
Captain America, Incredible. What is it? The Incredible Bunny Hulk or Incredible Bunny? I can't remember.
I think you could do Spider-Hams as shorts at the beginning of the films, like
Dr. Doom
does. You know.
Mm-hmm. I used to love Spider-Ham. I had all the Spider-Ham comics when I was a kid.
Somehow that does not surprise me.
Peter Porker, the Spectacular Spider-Ham. If that doesn't bring a smile to your face, I don't know what possibly could. Then my number one then was Felix Leiter. I cannot understand how they haven't expanded the James Bond universe into the U.S. and created a Felix Leiter film franchise. Is it the name? Is that it?
It's not. It doesn't roll off the tongue like
Felix
James Bond does.
It doesn't. No, but man, I mean, it's exactly a Channing Tatum as Felix Leiter. I don't know, something. I just feel like I think a Felix Leiter franchise film or something would be awesome. Or maybe an extended, kind of as I may have hinted at earlier, an extended MI6 universe thing where we can check in on different stuff. You can see what 005 is up to, that type of thing, you know?
That'd be pretty cool.
So, I don't know. But Felix Leiter, I feel, is a wasted opportunity for the James Bond franchise. And that's what everything's about now, right? It's franchises. You wanna explore. You can make a James Bond film every 2 years now instead of every 4 or 5 we seem to be in the current mode with.
You notice, I'd like to point out, guys, that 3 of Chris's 5 were all secret agent related.
They were.
They
certainly were. Mm-hmm. I had a couple honorable mentions. I had Nightwing. Would be fun. Hey,
that was one I pulled off, was a Robins. Like, you could do all the different Robins.
That would be good. I had Miles Morales as well as Spider-Man. Ivan Drago, kind of what we talked about earlier in the Creed discussion. And maybe more an expanded Blade Runner thing where we could follow a couple of replicants around, or another Blade Runner perhaps might be interesting. Furiosa, of course, Matt, I thought was a great pick. And then finally, I think the thing I may want most of all is either maybe a team-up film with Chicago Wind and Captain Kangaroo Pimp from Black Dynamite. Of course, just your weekly reminder that Black Dynamite is currently available on Netflix.
There you go. So you did see that Blade Runner is getting an anime, right? Blade Runner 2049? Yeah.
I just saw that.
Yeah.
So that'll be, we'll see how that turns out. I don't know. Hopefully it'll be pretty good, but we'll see. Honorable mentions for you?
All I had was the Robins, just so you could follow he's got, 5 or 6 of them. You could go through the different ones. Or even them working together and just call the movie Robins.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea either. And they're doing a Birds of Prey thing right now. Good Lord, though, I don't know.
I am not confident about that one. That one has me nervous.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Mm-hmm. What spinoff are you searching for? Shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. We, of course, as always, would love to hear your thoughts on that particular subject matter. All right, Matt. Next week, we're going to go with Green Book and then the latest Coen Brothers film, which is now on Netflix. It's been back-to-back double theater reviews for a while now. So it'll be nice to take it easy and just check out the one. So, but we're going to do that. What else is coming up? I know Vox Lux is coming up soon, the Natalie Portman film, which is supposed to be very good. There's a bunch of stuff. The Favorite, which I am dying to see. Things are picking up steam again as we get close to the end of the year, because that's when all the Oscar bait starts to come out. Vice, Mary Queen of Scots is supposed to be great. There's just so much good stuff coming. But next week, it's going to be Green Book. And what is the Coen Brothers film again?
Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
There you go. Check us out on Facebook and Twitter, Instagram, and the YouTubes. Just do a search for The First Run. Scroll. Eventually, you will find us. Go over to Apple Podcasts and give us a review. It'll help other people find the show. And that's what you want in the end, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be, I guess, the big show for this week, man. So why don't we go ahead and take an extended break? We'll see y'all soon.
I must break you.